good stuff. Yeah. We're going down the rabbit hole. This is officially called what?
This is the Looking Glass.
The Looking Glass.
Which is one of the first interactive art museums in the state of Virginia. It's part of the Ix Art Park Foundation's vision, and we are a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome. And I just noticed this giant dog. Is the dog part of the exhibit?
He's not part of the exhibit, but he does like to take naps in the exhibit.
So how long ago did this start?
So we started this prospect back in about April of last year, and we used 13 different local Virginia artists. Some of them were painters, some of them were sculptors. We also used some audio and digital technology artists. And it was a really interesting concept because the only rule that we gave these artists was that it had to be an enchanted forest. So they all brainstormed together and sort of came up with a plan of what they thought this enchanted forest would look like, and then each of them were assigned projects. This idea is that people can get really close up to the art, they can touch it, they can hear it, they can be sort of moved by it, and then it becomes a more personal journey for everyone.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was checking out some of the stuff in there, the art actually changes based on, how you interact with it. Whereas, you can go look at art and that's what it is. The picture's not going to change, but this is really interesting. There's a lot of things you're walking through, and they'll never move the same way because the person's going to walk through it differently, or the person's going to touch it differently. So I like that concept that the art it's always changing.
Always changing. And in fact, over time, we will continue to add new exhibits and new artists to it as well. So you'll come back maybe the next time and you'll see something a little different than what you saw the first time.
That's cool. I've already shown some of the things in there. Is there one in particular that's your favorite in there?
Oh gosh, that's such a hard question because, it depends on my mood partly. But I would probably have to say one of my favorites is the whole gnome house with the video projection behind it, which was kind of an interesting concept because the artist took a black and white photograph. So if the lights were all on in the museum, all you'd see is a black and white photograph. But then he took a digitized movie and he put it over.
Cool.
He also we were required by law to put a fire door in there. And so we're sitting here looking at our photograph with this big door in the middle of it, and we're thinking, well, what are we going to do with that? And the artist is like, oh, I've got an idea. Let's put a time-lapse video inside the door. Yeah. And so he time-lapsed a cicada coming out of its shell, and we time-lapsed some mushrooms that were growing in the forest. That's cool. And so the door became sort of this, like a portal to something else. So,
well, the kids were in there, they were like, how do we go in there? Like, that's actually the emergency exit. You don't go in there. But it's interesting that the kids feel like they can explore a lot, and they can open things, they can touch stuff, they can grab things, they can push things, they can hit the wall.
It's funny, we find too that different people are drawn to different kinds of things. Like little girls are oftentimes very drawn to the gnome house.
Right.
Boys are sometimes drawn to either the technology wall or they're drawn to the glow in the dark room where they can, follow a maze.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on the person, but people are drawn to different things.
That's cool. So this is an interactive art display, so there's a lot of things you can touch, but some of the things you got to figure out what they actually do. For example, you get to this wall and there's a pin hanging here. tactile art, a lot of sculptures, stuff like that. Where can we find out more about the
Sure,
project?
you can find out on our website. It's www.ixartpark.org. That's IXARTPARK.org.
Okay,
And we are a nonprofit organization, so we encourage people to donate to the Ix Art Park so that we can continue to bring you new artists and new exhibits.
awesome, great, thanks.
Absolutely.